G'day, Hawks fans from around the world. You're at Talking Hawks. Chris, myself, Matt. We're all about connecting Hawks fans from around the world, having some good footy conversation, obviously about our Hawks that we're very passionate about, have a few laughs along the way, but we always look forward to these chats and your insights. So let us know in the chat where you're tuning in from, and there's a lot to talk about tonight, a lot.
There is across all different divisions of Hawthorn, and there's a bit happening in the women's at the moment.
Yeah, absolutely. How are you going, Chris?
I'm good, mate. I don't know if I'm travelling as well as Fred, but Fred's in the house and I'm loving it.
Freddie's always in the house. Thanks, Freddie. Look, it's definitely Riley. We are looking at things with a bit more optimism. Brooke, good to have you. You're a legend, Freddie. Here we go. Jason, Riley, legends. Look at this. Wayne, Tony, thanks for joining us, everybody. There's a few people tagging their friends, their Hawk friends tonight. That's very nice of you. So, look, tonight, what do we got? There's a absolute champion Hawk that's had a nice contract extension. We might have a debutant. We've got lots of news on the AFLW. We'll look at the injuries in the squad. Sir Doug Nicholls round. So, is that going to get a lift out of any of the boys? Perhaps less of an Indigenous representation in the squad that's been named compared to some years gone by. But and who knows, we might even get to throw in a few mid-season draft ideas around. But tell us, fans, what's your top of mind? Look, we're in Tassie this week. I think the Lions don't like the cold necessarily. What are you saying? How many on the trot, Chris, are we against them?
We've won the last two against Brizzy. I think last year we got out to a massive lead before we surrendered 8-1 in the last quarter, but still saluted by 2 goals. We had some pretty big performances from guys like Jagar with 35 touches, 11 tackles. That's a massive. Wingard had 32 touches, 6 tackles, 2 goals too. So hopefully Wingard can reproduce something like that on the weekend. Yeah. Tommy Mitchell, 34. Nashi, 23 and 9 tackles. So Warps and Reeves also had 7 tackles. It was must have been a pretty big emphasis to be tackling hard. So
good thing.
Whether we do that again, be interesting to see.
I like the theme. I wouldn't mind seeing that continue. And look, if you do get a young Ned Long in, I know Daz is always talking him up with how many tackles he's averaging. Like he's a base, so I think he'll fit in. If let's throw it out there right now, fans. Ned Long, we all clearly want to see him, and if you've ever been to the ground, he is a specimen to behold, especially near the boundary. Ned, do you think of the squad? Let's just jump straight into who's the bench going to be selected from, Chris? Have you got it there? We definitely want to see him, Riley, but do you think he will get picked from this group? Give us a yes or a no in the comments, Chris. Who are we choosing the bench from?
Better not go from that list. Interchange from Liam Shields, Kyle Hardigan, Ned Long, Denver Granger-Barras, Jackson Callow, Connor Nash, Daniel Howe, and Sam Butler.
It's good to see Butts still in the mix. Interesting, yeah. Oh, mate, it'd be interesting to watch the role. I don't know, Brooke, that he would step straight into that. To be honest, I think there's the potential in the future. I think. Tell us what you've seen. There tends to be a bit of a role or two that they're given, and Ned's had a bit of a run through the midfield. He doesn't mind getting on the end of it. Is he ready to go in a Gunston? I might be wrong. Is he ready to go to fill that sort of a spot with Gunners sadly on the sideline?
He could be a hard one to match up with because he's got good height. And like you said, he's got a man body already. So, if he can just motor up and down the ground and take clunks and marks and, like you said, get some nice big tackles, I think he's going to fill a pretty handy role wherever he plays.
Is there a bit of a consensus, because we've just had a flurry without flashing up the comments? There's a few I don't think so's. Interesting. It's a bit of a mix. So from the quick glance, it seems like maybe there's a few doubts that whether he will get to debut, even though he's named, which is exciting. We don't want to see him on the medical sub. That's a given. I'll assume that from everybody. That's not a debut.
That sucks.
So, all right. Let's hope we get to see Ned, if not this week, very, very soon. But Sicily, let's go from the top here. James Sicily, 2027. He was great to listen to during the week. Fans, what did you think? Did you catch much of that, Chris?
I didn't get time to listen to it. It's sitting on my playlist, ready to go, but I ran out of time.
From what I caught, he's always been, it wasn't really a consideration to look elsewhere. Very committed. He's speaking with great leadership and maturity. Bit of, humility. He's not getting ahead of himself. He's committed, excited by a young coach in Sam Mitchell, and clearly, the days of, I loved how he talked about when he was a young buck and there was the forward line that he was in the mix of at the time before he moved down back, and he just saw those guys go back to back, and he wants that. And he spoke very well. I heard him on multiple different media sources. So I think it was just a resounding Hawthorn high five around the world for Sis.
He's proven himself coming back off the ACL, but 5 years is still a little risky in my book. But no, it's great for him, for the club to commit to him for that period of time, and gone the history of Hawthorn not giving players long-term contracts, especially over 30 years of age. So that takes him to 32. So it also helped make us a destination club, locking in one of our key players. So hopefully in the next couple of years, pencil in a few more contracts and start getting in a couple of big names to help us have a tilt at the flag.
Kerry agrees. I think you've got to take that punt, and you are backing, Sydney made the big play for Buddy. Did you think he was going to play this long? I didn't.
No,
I didn't think his body was going to hold up. But do you do it for what he can potentially deliver and what that brings to your club? Absolutely. So I'm pretty comfy with, especially his return. You can only base it on action, and he's feeling good in his body. It refreshed him. His love for the game is back. He's touched on these things. So I think, yes, every player's at risk when they're long term, but hopefully playing behind the ball and whatnot, he down back, he's going to probably not cop as much of a hit as he might have if he was a forward. So Sir Doug Nicholls round. Are we going to get a lift? I did also see, before we get to that, is it going to get Chad, Jars? Are they going to really step up to the plate this round? And if the fans know, I think this is more about Indigenous and the Aboriginal Torres Strait Islanders being recognised and whatnot. Does it include others? Chris and I just weren't quite sure, but as far as the Hawks are concerned, is there going to be a lift from either of those two lads in Chad?
Well, they've got multicultural around as well, don't they? So maybe that's for all the nationalities playing our game. But so I'm guessing, now that I think about it, it's Indigenous is just for our Aboriginal players.
I don't know. Yeah, spot on. I don't know how we didn't get that in our 10 hours of preparation for tonight, but look, AFLW, I can rattle it off. I'm sorry, Chris, I'm hogging it. Is there anything you're saying from the fans here before I jump into all that? Because some big news there, and I'll whip through it quick, but
there's more game and play specific questions, but no, just keep going, mate. All right.
Real quick, AFLW, the CBA was announced August start date for the AFLW season. So the Hawks, brown and gold in the AFLW, on average, there was a 94% pay rise across. They have 4 different price tiers, which is great. 24th of May, so just around the corner, the expansion signing period begins. 31st of May, the sign and trade period begins, and it will be a 10-round season with a finals, an extra week for finals and a top 8, as is the snapshot. So I think we've had a really good crack at filling a few spots. And if you are all about the AFLW, check out Hawks Insiders after this. And they have Emma Race, the number 1 ticket holder for their Hawks, who Emma's a great advocate for the female game and females in media. So we've absolutely killed it, and in terms of the recruits in the last little bit. So a number of spots there filled, and we will do justice to that another night. If you are all over it and you're interested in getting your head to perhaps beautify this space, maybe you could join us one time. We would love to hear from anyone that might be all over the VFLW and the AFLW to look at a few different perspectives and expertise. So
cheeky comment from our friend here about Jeffrey having his best month yet. Surely gets another 6 months. He's done well to stay out of the limelight of late, and he's just slowly getting things done in the background.
Yeah, I think it's good that he's able to sort of maybe financially just get a couple of things in place. Not just him, the whole commercial team. Well done. And
talking about that, didn't we just sell off one of our big assets?
Yeah, there's Caroline Springs. So, and the Pokies associated there. So that was really.
Is that our last hive with the Pokies? Are we out of the Pokey game now?
No, there's one more venue. So, and if it's anything to go by, it was touched on that at the right time, at the right price, because part of the funds are going into a future fund. It's just to help to continue to build the club and prepare for our new facilities.
Yep.
Which will help host the men's and the women's. So exciting things ahead and good progress by the club. Well done to all involved there. But let's crack in. So, all right, where do we start? Can I ask Hardigan?
I like to see him still getting out and about.
Yeah.
He's helped in the background at Box Hill, which has been great for I guess their leadership skills and whatnot, but I think he was carrying a couple of injuries, but he's obviously pulled the Guernsey back on, ready to get back for the seniors and help out if we need him.
Well, he's chimed in with 10 posies, 5 marks, and a goal, if you don't mind, last week. So maybe there's look. The good part there, Proc talked about it. Clint Proctor, Box Hill coach, saw that they were dominating a bit in the air. They wanted to keep them accountable, more so Tarrant, who is playing and throwing Hardigan down there, really changed the dynamic. So he played back, forward across the game. I don't know that we're going to see him forward for the Hawks at all, but he's nabbed a goal. So.
Listed Darcy Fort in the forward pocket, so he's a ruckman. Ryan Lester's got a little bit of height. He's not a big monster. And Eric Hipwood, I don't know how well he'd match up on Hipwood because he's a bit more agile. And but yeah, it'd be interesting to see if he does come into the team. I'm not seeing a good matchup for him, so might be more of just a backup. I
agree. I think they're a bit tall, athletic, and it's not the gorilla mold that I naturally associate Hardigan with.
Unless he goes forward like he did at Box Hill.
Just chuck him sneaky in the pocket. Sam Butler in one, Hardigan in the other. Love it. All right. The Titch. You might be right, Con. You probably are. How about Titch? You heard Sammy's presser.
I did, yep. Oh, look, it all just makes sense. Like you said, he carried a bit of an illness through the game, didn't really get back to 100%, and obviously showed on the stat sheet that game. And then he sort of had I guess during the week he was still a bit down, so I thought they just made the right decision, let him recharge the batteries, and looks like he's up and about, and he's, ready to go, firing all cylinders. So looking forward to seeing him have a big game, because we sort of need that midfield to get into gear. I think we're 18th in the comp at the moment for clearances, so out of centre bounces. So we definitely need to improve that area of the game.
Yeah, look, a little bit Ruck contributions there. And
It is.
Is this something we might see? I think Titch wasn't well, had the spell. We were a little bit maybe harsh last week or the week before. I didn't know at the time that he was had played when he was crook. So that's come out since. But he's come back better. Sammy said a circuit breaker. He's serving him well, and he normally does overs, and he's got the energy, and that's what he's had since he's come back. Is that something, because Box Hill's not playing this week, are they looking at that little circuit breaker for Warple as well? Are we seeing maybe a little theme here?
They did it for kids as well. We did it for Ward, and tried to do it for Connor McDonald. He unfortunately had to keep playing, but he gets his week off this week now. Like you said, another game off for Finn. Where did we see the Finn comment? But yeah, that's a bit higher up. So yeah, Finn with a week off. I'm not sure what to think of that. Maybe they don't have a role for him this week. I would have thought he would have been able to run with somebody, even if it was a midfielder rather than a winger. But obviously they've made that decision.
I think there's a little bit of management of bodies and trying to give a few games on the trot to the youngsters. There's a bit of a mix-up of roles, and they go, there's a Box Hill game, we've got a bye coming up, managing load, we've got a few injuries. Great to see CJ back in. Yeah, so as you're juggling all of these things, it's good. Here we go. Wow. Well, tell us what you really think, Chris. Yeah.
Fair enough. He's probably has had a few weeks where he hasn't been at his best, but I think he's definitely in that best 22. So
I think he's going to keep holding his spot, Frosty. So,
but like I said about Warple, I was probably slightly overdue. They did drop him, and he ended up being the sub that week as a late, not emergency, but come back into the team and ended up playing, I think, about 3/4 of that game as well. So didn't quite get the desired effect last time he was dropped. And hopefully, like you said, he can go away, have a week off, reset, and try and recapture that form that he had in 2019.
Yeah. I'm going to go back to this, Chris. With CJ coming back in and giving us some run, you don't need the Frosty run.
True.
As you're not as reliant on it.
No.
So if Hardigan's getting the help in the air, and maybe that's coming through Scrimshaw's had a great little patch. Sicily, DJB's working out when to fly, when to stay. Maybe. So
I'd probably take Hardigan's kicking over Frosty's as well.
He's learned to play to the strengths, I think, Hardigan, and we will see. So
I love Frosty's dash. He can break games open with his run and dash, and it doesn't always come off, but it is part of the excitement machine that he is.
Yeah. Now, look, it'd be interesting. You're managing load as well. We had Dylan Vazari, if you missed it, high performance manager for Box Hill Hawks in the game review show. He talked about just some of his role, but even just managing the additional. There was a Box Hill tweet out this week, a short clip of just the load and was it on Twitter? Looking at this week off and how they just get the kilometres into the boys that need it and what conditioning they continue to have. So looked like there was a bit of a good. There was an awareness and obviously the respect when the Hawks players are playing with Box Hill. However, they still remain under the Hawks.
Barry's in the know. Reckons Frosty's carrying a knee injury, so that'd be interesting. Maybe that is why Hardigan's been put on the extended list. Maybe for that late call up.
Enough for Brisbane intel. There we go. Frosty's playing. Don't worry about that. Thanks, Baz. It's interesting. It's bringing up a few different thoughts down back with the development. Look, so who else have we got? Like, I think Jager's had a nice purple patch.
He has,
in the last month. And as a Scrimshaw doing well, Sicily continues.
There you go with Scrimmer, mate. Scrimmer. There's question marks over him as well. Fans got all the goss tonight.
So if Scrim's out, well, you've got CJ in and maybe Hardigan to play a role in Denver, between Denver. It's not a straight swap there, but there's options. We've got some defensive depth there that if we need it. I tell you what I did like, Callow.
Yep, he sounded like he went back to Box Hill and had some pretty good form after his little exposure to AFL. So, and again, he's on our extended list. Whether he gets a game or not's interesting one, because we do probably need that second ruckman, whether that be Cozzy, because we've got Lewis and Cozzy, and we don't really want to break up that dynamic duo because they're looking like they're working well together. So could Callow be a surprise in really and play a bit more of a ruck role for us?
Yeah. Look, Callow's 17 disposals, 1 goal, 6 marks, 5 hit outs. I don't know how many contests he was in terms of the ruck, but I just liked his attack, his tenacity. I think he showed, like, it's showing me a hunger that he wants to stay at the level. So it's nice. Whether he gets a game this week, I'm not entirely sure, because I do think Cozzy and Lewis, they do need some time together. I think that's showing the most promise at the moment as a too big tall. But look, Callow, mate, competition's a good thing. Jump in there, big fella, and let's see what you can do. And look, hold on. Can I just go on to Callow here?
Yep.
Call back your unicorn, sorry. He could go back and surprise us. Go on.
Yes.
What did you have?
Your boy Tank Morris, I'm pretty sure they can bend the rules, but he's not listed at the moment, Morris. But if there is a couple of late outs, there's no reason why they couldn't call him in last minute.
13 disposals, 5 tackles last week. So we will see. The other, what else did I have? A little bit of a sneaky. I think I've got a crystal ball question for the people. Give us the Hawthorn intel. Do you think, if you've watched a bit of Box Hill and you've seen Seamus Mitchell, he's starting to tear it up. He's starting to really understand the role. They're playing him behind, down back, and we heard Proc talk about him learning down back, probably to help him bone up as a forward. But he's given us some really great speed and disposal, and he's been a really key link player on quite a few chains. I wonder, well, here's my crystal ball. I think Seamus is probably a couple more games down back. I'm going to guess they're either then going to play him off a flank because they're liking that dash and they want him to get exposed to that so they can look at a flank or a pocket option for him. But my crystal ball here, I reckon we might see Seamus debut probably ahead of Saunders is doing well, but I think probably ahead of Connor Downey to get a look into the Hawks seniors team in I'm going to guess in the next 6 weeks.
Well, he had a bit of an interrupted preseason, I think. So, he seems to be picking up his game at the moment. Like you said, just learning a few little ins and outs that they're wanting to learn. But I'll transition over to Peter's question here about the big noodle. So, finally heard some news, and Sam actually said it in his press conference. He's just done a 6 week strengthening block. So, they think that, he's not too far away. And there's, What did he say? Not without question, he could come into the team next week. That sounded like it was a very big if, but it's promising news that he's not too far away.
Is Sammy starting to mess with their heads? I think he's pretty honest, but Tom's
playing games, you reckon?
What's that?
Playing games, you reckon, Sammy? Just leading him astray?
Probably not, but
it sounded pretty genuine.
Yeah. So, look, it's good signs. You do want to look after shoulder and the sublux, and it does need that strengthening. So, sublux is when you pop your shoulder out, which is what he did, and we need it. We need that ruck, and he did also allude to potential to look at a ruck in the mid-season draft if need be. So, I did see. Before we go to that, and we're going to finish up in the next few minutes, but here we go. For our friend from the UK.
I laughed when I said that earlier.
And if you love the Jai as much as Brett and us, you can get on board and sponsor him. We had a good time with some people last weekend at the game, and I think we're going to add a few more into the mix. What was appetizing for some of the people that I got to meet that sometimes join us on here, and some part of the player sponsor syndicate is the opportunity to come along to some lawn bowls with the players is coming up if you're part of our syndicate group. So if you want to do that, check out talkinghawks.com, go to the player sponsor page, check out the details. We're hoping to raise over 50% of the way there. We want some funds to keep going. We've got CJ. Welcome back, CJ. We can't wait to get you on the show.
Yes.
Denver and Jai. So enough said. On to Jai. Go, Chris.
All right. Question for you and the fans without notice. Who is winning our best and fairest at the moment? I'm going to throw you Sicily or Jai, because both have had outstanding years, and I reckon it would be very, very close. Jai's having an outstanding season, and like you said, he's really gone to our number one midfielder at the moment. Be interesting to see how Titch responds after his week off. If we could have two midfielders in peak form, it would go a long way to helping us get a little sneaky win this weekend.
Yep. I'm going to say Jai by nose, by a whisker.
Even.
Splinters, Jim.
By a whisker as well.
Oh.
Neck and neck. We're pretty close here.
Good question.
Duke. Sis. Come on, we didn't mention Maury. He's been good, but not that good. He's dropped off the last few weeks. Another Maury.
I think
there you go, Jai. It's a good question, wasn't it?
Yes. Oh, it's just a little bit of a head wobble there going on. He's back.
I like to make up for Daz not being here, didn't we?
There's a lot of head wobble with Daz. So, look, I'm sure we'll watch this back. But
talking about a head wobble, he was trying to head wobble about Will Day playing in the midfield, but I think we've all talked about that. I don't think it's a big call there. But it is good to see. It was just a matter of how long before you risk his body in the midfield. I don't know. He can take a tackle, I think. But on a regular basis, how is his body going to hold up playing that midfield role versus being off a back flank and carving it up or pushed up on a wing and not copying it as much?
Well, I don't see him taking a backward step very often, despite his frame. And so it's how much do you want to expose him to that? So you do think about centre ball ups versus around the ground. And, there's options there to perhaps give him a little bit more space and less congestion and getting collected if it's at a centre bounce. So love to see him there. If the club thinks he's ready, absolutely. I'm ready to see a lot more of Will Day in the middle. So Daisy, does everyone agree where you're at? Do you want Daisy to be playing more in the midfield, or are you loving him, what he can do off half back and down a wing?
Like the fact that he adds a bit extra height because we're lacking height in that midfield.
Nashi.
We've got Nashi. Yeah, I know we've got Nashi, but if you could have two, 6'3", 6'4" players rolling through the midfield, it makes a bit of a difference, I reckon.
Well, and let me say an attacking one, because you've probably got Finn that's finding his own on a wing now. He was that tall that we thought, oh, maybe. But, yeah. Scrimshaw in the middle. I love that.
We've got the support for Young Day in the midfield.
On your Kelly.
There we go. Prefer him at half-back. He does read the play extremely well. Extremely well.
Yeah.
But he's also very good in that tight, congested midfield, and he could be getting the ball out to our runners, and also more opportunity to kick the ball inside forward 50, I would say, because I reckon he's very good at hitting up targets, and that would be another bonus to him being a midfielder, that he's going to get the ball inside 50 for our forwards.
Well, he's your other tall attacking mid, and if he gets a nod this round, I think you'll definitely see him in the middle for a few balls.
Yeah, I don't think they'll be shy in that regard. I think he'll definitely get a couple of centre bounces if he's named to play.
Yeah, that's definitely it. Geez, here we go again. We've got the Jimmy Hurts references. I don't mind it.
Don't know how natural he is as a forward. I remember his first goal where he ran around the man on the mark. Do you remember that one?
Yeah.
Exactly.
I didn't know what he was doing. So, all right.
Yeah, I don't think he's a natural forward, but he's still learning. He might come good as a forward.
Yeah, it was exciting to see him kick that first one. So, awesome. I think. Look, we've got this game just as we come to a close and look to wrap up. We know about 33% of you, to some shows, 50% of you that watch us on YouTube aren't subscribed. So we'd love your help just to move towards 1,000 subs. Hit that bell notification. Occasionally we'll do a few things without much notice or just on YouTube. So give us your support. Like it if you're enjoying the content, and thanks for hanging around till now. You clearly do. We love the tribe. It was nice to start to meet some of them in person last week when we did a few things at the game or pre-game. So even after the game, Dominic, Janelle, it was great to meet a few other people. And all right, VFLW, this game. We've got Darwin Falcons, City Oval, 11 a.m. Oh, I think that is Sunday. 1 second.
It's Saturday, mate. Yep.
Saturday, my bad. Didn't write that one down. Get down there, watch the ladies, get behind them. They're having a great season and coming off a cracker against Essendon, which was a draw last week. So I reckon they'll be hungry.
Yeah.
And lots of announcements around the AFLW. Geez, a little bit more of a paycheck. They might be playing very hard this week to get a look in if they want to do this a bit more. Professionally. Yeah, not that they're not doing it professionally, but be able to allocate more time to it and subsidise, or not look to have to subsidise. I love it. I love that the women's game is giving them that, more dollars to play with, and they got to do it.
Fast tracking it, isn't it? Just fast tracking it, like the players back in the day used to work a full-time job and play footy part-time. It's they want to skip that process and just turn it into a full-time job for them, which is great.
And Gil McLaughlin, I heard him at late last year talk about that at a Hawthorn function, that they're really invested in the grassroots and the girls and the women's game in particular. So more all strength to them. So you want to give us a wrap, Chris? Wrap it up with this round. We've got.
Yeah, just a quick wrap. Do you tag Lockie Neal? He's in pretty good form, I'd say. Obviously, Finn would have been the man to go to him. I don't know that we've got someone who's really going to play that role now. So, especially with Warple out, Warple may have been the one. Maybe Howe might be able to perform that role. Maybe Shields if he comes into the team.
Either one of those two, absolutely.
Yeah. And it doesn't have to be a hard tag. It can just be, as we call it, just a cold tag where we're just running with him and trying to, attack at the same time. But that's a yes for me. I think we need to definitely go to one of their midfielders this round if we're going to win.
The other one might be Nashi, and I don't know where, if you're still relying on him in the ruck, you probably can't have him that divided and running his guts out if he's trying to play a tag there. But there we go. Con's with me. So do they tag the Duke? Says Beach Baller.
Oh, look, they have to come into consideration, you'd think. He's clearly our most damaging player from the centre bouncers. That might just be more of a centre bounce tagging effort than around the ground tagging effort.
Yep. Or does the Duke go head to head and give us a bit of that?
That'll be interesting.
Keep him honest.
I like it.
Yep. All right, let's look at it then. So let's go to the fans. Who you got? By how much? And your goal kickers. Who's your goal kicker for the Hawk?
Fred's got in early.
I'm going to take a little wobble from last week. I was at the game. I said Gunners for 3, Brewsty for 2. In the first quarter before Gunners went down, he was 1 goal. Brewsty was 2 already. I'm like, I'm on. But Gunners didn't quite see that one out. Sadly.
Better just make it a half head wobble because it didn't happen.
Oh no, I was just a bit excited. I'd rather Gunners was healthy, to be honest, than getting anything right. So here we are.
51-7-7. I'd be happy if we had that many scoring shots. I don't want it to be that inaccurate though. But
Hawks have won the last 2.
Lewis is going to kick all our goals. Wow.
Tommy,
that's a bold prediction.
Have you got some mail, Tommy? Is it what's happening there? All right. So
11. Lewis with 4 updated. Hawks by 18. Oh, it's our little fortress down at Tassie. I know it hasn't been. We haven't been the super team that we used to be, but I do think we a sneaky chance of a win this round. So, and I don't think it's going to be a big margin either. So, I'm going to go 15 points. Hawks by 15, with Cozzy and Lewis both to kick 3 each.
Ooh, nice. Keep it coming. If you're not watching live, let us know what you think the score will be. But I've got the Hawks by 9. I've got Lewis kicking 3. I'm not confident of a huge score, but I've got
Cody's going for a goal fest here.
Bring it on. And I got Brewster with 6 score assists, score involvements, SIs. There we go. So I think the Hawks we're bullish tonight. But yeah, let's call it a night. Fans, you've been great. Thank you, Chris, as always. Do anything. We will. Segue, and if you're interested, again, Hawks Insiders tonight have Emma Race on there. Worth a listen. Number 1 ticket holder, follows the women's game. Check out Hawks Nest if you love some of the Indigenous merch as well that's available this week. So have a good game. If you're in Tassie, mate, shout very loud because sadly we won't be there. We'll be shouting at the screen. So, yeah, we will call it a day. Thanks, everyone.
Thanks for joining us. Go Hawks.
Catch you later.